Welcome all. Thank you so much for joining this. We have Dr. Viswanadham Duppatla, who is here with us today. If I can just request him to switch on his camera. Visu needs no mention, but before I introduce him, I'll probably talk about what this in-civilization with Prash is. So when we talk about SCI, it could be science or it could be conscience, it could be anything. But we will drive through the course of some kind of inspiration that we can take from these eminent scientists while we interview each one of them. And our first guest today is Dr. Viswanadham Duppatla. He's going to come up with a small presentation featuring Visu's wonderful credentials. When we talk about anyone like Visu, we only talk about science, isn't it? This is all about science paradigm. Visu has wonderful postdoctoral years of experience in UK and several years in Europe as a Marie Curie Fellow and all those kind of things, which probably we'll get to know from his LinkedIn profile, from his Facebook, and from the wonderful activities that we steer through. But what amazes me when we think of Visu is a wonderful simpleton. Is absolutely a simpleton. You don't feel like you're talking to someone like a vice president of IKP Knowledge Park, okay, who is absolutely down to earth, who is always helping, and who would always talk about something called science. Always taking or giving some kind of inspiration to all the people. At this moment of time, I would like to say that Visu has been a wonderful person. I'll just start with a brief introduction of him here, as you could see from the screen over here. So Visu is an AVP of IKP Knowledge Park. And he has had several years of postdoctoral experience after he did his PhD from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science. He's a biochemist by training, and he did his MSc from University of Calicut. And after having several years of postdoctoral training, he wanted to come back to India. He wanted to say that yes, India is my country. My family is there. I wanted to do something over here, and it's been about 2.5 years, I believe, Visu, if I may say. So it's about 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, and even before that, I knew him for over 4.5 years. I've been following his LinkedIn posts, wonderful posts. I always used to take a lot of inspiration from him. We're of same age, that's the beauty of it. And we always thought that probably we should meet. And I had an opportunity to meet him last December when I was in Hyderabad. And ever since I thought probably it's time I talk to him, I probably take some kind of inspiration, come up with a kind of an understanding that we should come up and meet together, share some kind of ideas and all those kind of things. So today we are here because of Visu, and to me he is one of the most interesting scientists. You not call him at any point of time, simply drop him an email. You send him a message or LinkedIn. He's always there, and he is heading. Is co-heading, I would say, is an AVP, is co-heading one of the prestigious knowledge parks in India, the IKP Knowledge Park. And the inspiration behind it comes from this wonderful photograph which I can learning from him. I sought his what do you call uh, permission before I put up this photograph. He says that he wanted to come back to India just because of his family. Okay, and you see he has got a lovely family in the form of his two wonderful kids, his mother and his wife, who is also a researcher. And this is what we don't know about Visu. Oh, these are yummy. In fact, whenever I think of this, probably, I know it's a kind of an evening supper time. I can think of all these kind of things. And thanks servants is all made by Visu only. So Visu, can you please describe something about this? Yeah.
Thank you, Prash, for the very nice introduction. So I at home I always enjoy helping my mother and family along with the our very busy science and so-called outside life. When we come back home, many times when I get up in the morning, first I will go to the kitchen and see what I can make, and I will try to make something quickly, so that that guilty of this 40 years the parents whatever made. So I want to make something for my mother, whatever way I can make. So that's how I always end up in the kitchen in the morning. Do something very small thing, and okay, most of these baking items are from my wife. I only clean and do some timekeeping and other things. But very nice talking to all of you today.
Oh, wonderful, Visu. I mean, what I wonder is, do you really get this much time, Visu? That's amazing. I mean, your busy schedules. Do you think you get this much time to do all this stuff?
Thanks to COVID, now I have more time actually. Before, like I was like 40% or 50% of the time traveling, and most of the time on the weekend I will go to some city or somewhere. So I will end up Saturday, Sunday in some other city. But now I have all the time, so I have myself.
Right, right. Wonderful, wonderful, Visu. Thank you so much. So we'll have a real beginning of this cyber session, Visu. I was just wondering, what made you to take up science, as a field and as well as a as well as a research investigation.
Okay, so I'll be very honest here. Like I come from a very remote place called Srikakulam, and I actually almost like a failed candidate in the 10th class, and I studied in an OA school very luckily because of what maybe I am still surviving. So when I came to plus one, I really don't know what to do, but we had one very nice teacher called YSS Chandrasekhar. He is amazing, excellent. I mean, even now also once in a month or twice I call him. So he's like, you will be very good in biology, and I have been following you. You take biology. So I just trusted him, and I had no clue about science or anything when I choose this actually. But after that, I really enjoyed, and after Andhra University and going to MSc in the JNU Biotechnology program, everything happened, very luckily, I would say.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. So, I mean, can you please tell us about your wonderful.
My parents, they're not so much educated, maybe like second class or third class. So when I got Navodaya seat, they were very happy. They said, okay, go read something. They had no clue what studies are. Like, once in 3-4 months, they come to the school and say hi. And all parents will be, struggling with mark sheet, this many marks. Luckily, they don't know anything. So whatever C grade, D grade, B grade I got, they never asked me anything. And they were very happy that, I'm not creating any trouble. So they were very supportive actually, by saying that we are very proud of you. And my mother, like, she was there throughout and helping us with everything. And now Dr. Hema, my wife, she was my MSc classmate in Calicut, and she did her PhD from Max Planck University, Max Planck Institute, Neurobiology, Munich. And I have a daughter of 6 years and 2 years old son.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful wisdom. Yeah. So how is it like, you both as scientists and, at home, how is the atmosphere at home, wisdom?
Okay, this is I am little guilty of this part. Like many a times work always takes preference over the family. When some grant applications are there, when some training programs are there, I don't have much time for the kids. it's very difficult when both are in science and taking care of the lab, or any kind of thing with a full commitment, because most of you, I know, like, we can't do half jobs, right? When we are taking a job, like, we don't say 9 to 5 and switch off the phone or something. So sometimes, at times, it becomes very difficult, but I compensate it by attending to them middle of the night, or anytime they get up, or whenever they want to play. I just make some time and try to compensate and feel less guilty.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So what was your project like at Indian Institute of Science when you were doing your PhD, and what and how you ended up in IISc, Visu?
So after MSc, like, most of the people, I wrote CSR exams, UGC exam, and I came in the top 20. That time it's called SPM or something. So it will be called for interview, and luckily I had cleared the IASC and CCMB interview that time. And I don't know actually anything much about IASC and CCMB, because I didn't go for the MSc project outside. I did in my department, because the room rent is 18 rupees in Calicut University. I got my project, summer project in MSc at NCBS, and in Bangalore. That time it was very expensive to stay. So I came actually, and I couldn't find a place to in my budget, and I went back and I did my MSc project in the Calicut University. So when I came out, okay, after these interviews were there, luckily I cleared some of these interviews, and I don't know where to join. So I actually went to Professor D.N. Rao's lab to ask his students, Baisab, I got a position in your lab, means with you. They are saying that I can join, but I don't know anything. Can you tell me frankly, because I don't know. And then they told, where else? Like, beggars have no choice. If you get one place, you have to join. Okay, I have, I got in Bark, I got in CCMB, I got this, but everybody is saying everything is good. Okay, then they told that, okay, you have to decide between academics and taking up a job. If you want a job, you must go to Bark, and CCMB, IASC are more academic institutes. So they took actually quite a time with me to spend. First they might have laughed at me that who is this joker came to our lab asking whether he can join our lab, because I felt that if I ask someone else what they will tell me, so I must ask his own students, like, whether what they will suggest. I told very clearly that I want a nice job. After this, maybe like 30,000-40,000 rupees salary I'm looking. I was very clear. I had no confusion. Like, okay, whatever I do, minimum is something like, I want a nice job to take care of my family. And then after that, they told, okay, go to CCMB, and the lab where you are getting, my friends are there, and they gave the reference, and I went to Hyderabad. I came to Hyderabad from there. They told that I must join in IASC, and that lab is very nice. Professor D.N. Rao works on methyl transferases, restriction endonucleases that time. When I joined, like, he told, like, okay, so you're very naive, and you're very honest. You're saying you don't know anything, which is very good actually. That is very good starting point for research. After 10-15 years, people realize they don't know, but you already started with saying you don't know. So you're already qualified for research, and just start working with whomever you like and do something. And after 8 months or so, I had to choose some project. So that time, DNA mismatch repair, one of my senior was working. I really liked how the DNA mismatch repair system is tricked in Haemophilus influenza and Neisseria gonorrhea. So because of a phase variation phenomena, so how the surface antigen changes. So I started my project on DNA mismatch repair in Haemophilus influenza with a very small bioinformatics work, where I looked at the C-terminal domain and N-terminal domain, and very lucky, I would say, that I don't have much knowledge that time. You can imagine in 2002 what kind of there are not many tools like what you guys have today. I spent like 1.5 days in the library learning what is blast, what is local blast, some very simple thing. You will laugh at those things if you know that I spent like 1.5-2 days just to know what it is. And then after 1 week, I went with a very nice picture saying that these internal ones are all same, C-terminal ones, so much difference is there. So my boss, who likes planning and characterizing, he told me, okay, make the C-terminal domain separately, full length protein separately. That's how my project started, and DNA mismatch repair.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, Viswanadham. So inspiring, I would say. I think this is the best bets you could expect. That working from a prestigious lab in Indian Institute of Science. So as a biochemist, I mean, do you think chemistry plays an absolute interface between biology and life sciences? What specific aspects do you think that chemistry plays a very important role, because the current generation probably they give a mess about chemistry. So what is your take on this? Yeah.
Actually, in my case, my bachelor's in chemistry and my interest for chemistry, all those things helped quite a lot. Like, when I came here, I must tell that, that time there was a dad fellowship program where you can go from India to Germany. And I must tell a small story as well here. So that time my sister's marriage was coming, and I was in very stress. Like, I was looking for some money and all. So this fellowship gives almost like 1 lakh per month. And I told my boss actually that I need some money, so I I want to go. Like, I will do PhD, but I want to go for 3-4 months. He was like, sure, why not go? So he sent me, means he agreed to apply for the program, which I don't know. So that time they were working on the cross linking of certain amino acids to mark the length. Like, you have a bioinformatics model to predict how far these amino acids are different in different proteins, or interprotein intraprotein cross links, and you're taking this structure, you will test with the model like linkers. It's pure full chemistry thing. So for me, that fellowship and later on European Union exchange program, both are on these cross linking and pure chemistry based thing, and that helped me actually get my Marie Curie industrial fellowship, because they were also again looking for protein chemical modification. So in my case, the chemistry has been, I'm sure it will be in most cases when somebody is looking very seriously, chemistry will be the starting point when you look at any of these things.
Right. I completely agree with you. I think this is a wonderful point that you have made. So when you look back, it's been almost 2 decades that you have graduated from mainstream masters, and if you see the current generation, what major difference you find between the students of those history years and the current generation, especially in taking up science as a discipline? Yeah.
So how many students are there in the, means some students will be there, MSc students?
Yeah. Here, I guess there are about 20.
Okay. So okay, don't get disappointed, but comparing with 2000 and now, I found that now the students take things little easily. Like, so when I joined my master's program, so I used to read in the evening, night, when we don't know something. Like, we never used to go somewhere like until we finish those things. But nowadays, many students, please excuse me if you are not in this category. I will be very happy if you are not in this category. So they take it for granted. Like, maybe at 5 o'clock they will shut down everything and switch to something in WhatsApp, I don't know where, but the commitment levels in some of the students are much less, and I would be more happy if students take, because this is their future. Like, this will be their starting point, and this is where they can spend their time and make their base stronger.
Right.
If you coming to the knowledge levels now, some of the students whom I interacted at various places, they are exceptionally good, and of course, as with the time, they have much better knowledge and access to several things, and that way they are much more advanced than 2000 graduates.
Yeah, I think I also agree on this particular point, Visu. I would also like to make it a point that probably that kind of passion that probably we had at some point of time is certainly missing in the current generation. But I wouldn't say passion is probably missing. Probably it's something like that their expectation levels have really increased to a manifold. Probably they want to expect or they want to gain some kind of returns in a shortest time. So that is what probably I would like to put it. But when you have done your PhD, Visu, did you ever think that probably you would land up somewhere in UK in a prestigious lab in UK, for your postdoc? What was going through your mind at that point of time?
Frankly, like my expectations from at any time are very much less. So that is what I learned from my professor as well at ISC. It is so rare that ISC professor not pushing students for big publications or something. He always told that this PhD is for learning. You should be very happy with what you are doing, and you must be content with the way you are performing the experiments and you are learning every day. So actually, soon after in the final years kind of thing. In PhD, there is no final year, but when I'm in fifth year or so, I was thinking that probably I should be looking for a job and settle a little faster, because parents, girls side parents and all, they will be looking for you to have a job kind of thing, not going and doing postdoc. So I was in dilemma that time. But my German connection that time, like twice I went for a DAD fellowship and later for a European Union exchange scientist program during PhD, were strongly pushing me to just that's so nice, like to see other side of the life and how they perform. And so that time actually I applied for both the jobs and the academic labs, and I got a very nice lab in Germany through the Marie Curie program. And actually it's because of the the chemistry work I have done during my previous visits to Germany, and also the surface plasma resonance, those things I have done. So that is actually they were looking for somebody who knows some biology, some chemistry, and operate a surface plasma resonance mission to understand the affinities and make some chemical modifications to make a protein like interleukin 4 actually. So that way just whatever I knew they wanted, and I got a own lab in Germany for my postdoc. It was a huge lab actually, like in ISC you have to wait for a surface plasma resonance to use maybe like 4-5 days, and night 11 o'clock slot you will get. In Germany lab I had my own mission for that is 1.2 crores mission, and I'm the only user because the professor retired, and I had the entire lab of chemistry and the biophysics lab to me.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful, Visu. Yeah. So if you really look into the academics, Visu, what is the main difference that you found between the life in Europe, the academic life in Europe, when compared to Indian academic lab?
So not much of a difference among the people who are very serious actually. But one thing I really appreciated in Germans is their commitment for time, and their commitment for the words they give. Like if they say they will do something, be it a technician, be it a cleaner, be it a MSc, BSc, PhD, your professor, doesn't matter who it is. If they say that they will give you the review of the manuscript tomorrow 3 p.m., 2:59 you will get a mail or a call with that, and you will get that update. Whereas here we take things, okay, yeah, I said 3 p.m., so what? It can be tomorrow, day after, and we don't even say sorry or something. That fellow will be waiting for our response, maybe our student. I'm even we have this little casual mentality about time, and we don't respect others' time. But if you ask about academics, I think more or less same, and our students are little hardworking. That time when I had seen, but once they're inside the lab, everybody is equally serious, and I don't see much differences in terms of science and this thing. But behavior, we are little casual.
Right. Yeah. It's a good point, Visu. But if you really see probably the kind of pedagogy that we have in India when compared to the European kind of education,
Yes.
Maybe our STEM curriculum is not that great, when compared to the European or far west.
Yeah, this I agree. Like here we don't have so much exposure to the lab, and there even a bachelor student will be in the lab for 3 months to 6 months. They have liberty to do practice, fail, test. But here I don't see a bachelor student staying in some wet lab for 3 months, and they have the liberty to spend so many chemicals because of our budget and all those things. There, by the time they reach PhD, they would have actually spent more than a year in the lab, and they know so much about the research topics, and they are very mature in terms of what they would be.
Right.
So that difference is very huge.
Right. Having said that, what was the single point agenda for you to come back to India, Visu, after your postdoctoral years of experience? What was going through your mind?
Okay, so as I told that I studied in an Navodaya school, so everything I got from the government, free school, free education, free scholarship, free food. So everything actually I never paid even 1 rupee for anywhere. Like I got MSc scholarship and of course CSR scholarship. I never had doubt that I will stay somewhere else, come whatever may be the situation. I just was praying that my wife will agree to this. Other than that, I'd never had any other thing. And of course, my family, my mother, I took her to UK for 6 months. But after studying so much and you do so many things, and you are depending on some government rules for inviting your parents, you are at the mercy of their things. So But anyways, I always wanted to come back. So, but when you realize that your parents can't stay because of some rule, and you are a foreigner in something, so that was even more strong. So that is another strong reason to come back more faster, actually.
Right, right. That's wonderfully insighted, Visu. But coming back to the previous question, Visu, I mean, since probably you have worked in prestigious institutes all through your life, probably right from Navodaya, University of Calicut, IISc Bangalore, and then postdoc in UK, and your European fellowships, and all those kind of things. Maybe did that really help you sail through successful projects in Europe? Maybe you might have probably gotten acclimatization pretty fast when compared to your other colleagues of your peers from India.
I would say that okay, being from the Indian Institute of Science, you are so much used to live with your work and other things. So when you go into another field, actually, it was very pretty relaxed life. Like people were more stressed that I'm working so much, but I was feeling that I'm not working. Actually, I got a call from the director. They will check for the logs and how much time you are staying and doing all those things. And they told that I must take the leave. That I am coming so much extra time there. For me, like doing something until I finish, I can't go somewhere. But there in Germany, they would be more relaxed, and they don't expect you to be doing only work like Saturday, Sunday. If you are there in the Saturday, somebody will check. The HR department will find out that you are coming 3 Saturdays. So they would tell you that by sub, you have to go little slow, take care of yourself, and you can come back on Monday. So I was actually requested to take leave once. So that way, having this experience, and here, whatever you do, you are thinking that you are not working much because you are not getting the results. So because we always look at the results as amount of time spent, but it is not that. Amount of time spent is an amount of time spent, be it a negative result, be it a positive result, whether it worked, something failed. But there it won't be like that. So because they spend very seriously. So whoever comes from here, in Germany, I had a very nice tradition that anybody comes to Würzburg, that is a small city, so they can stay with me for 1 week, and I tell them that how all things can be done. For a meeting, actually, one professor from CCMB was coming. In the last minute, his visa was accepted. And then he posted in a forum, like as you said, WhatsApp or Facebook group or something, that in the last minute he's coming. He didn't book the hotel. So I told him, you come to my room, I will give you food, and I will take you wherever you want. I was thinking he's a student. I never expected a senior scientist to post there. And then he became a very good friend, that he was so happy that without knowing anything about me, somebody is saying that in a foreign country you come here and I will take care of your food. That I was thinking that that is the major worry when I went to the Europe first time. I don't know what to buy, what to eat, where to buy. So I thought somebody coming there newly will be worried too. So if I say that you don't worry about anything, food and all this, everything, I will cook whatever you want and I will do all this, they will be very comfortable. So that way I had actually met a very nice set of people. So they are very good friends now.
No, wonderful, wonderful, Visu. I think, yeah. But as a fellow researcher or a fellow scientist, there would always be disagreements, in scientific fraternity. So how did you take up the disagreements, with your fellow colleagues, or maybe with your supervisors, or with your probably junior colleagues, or maybe in the conferences, maybe someone asks some kind of question, probably which you may really want to answer in a different way. So yeah.
Okay. One good thing with me is I don't react instantly. I will always take some time, even if I know things. So I just want to digest and answer. So that way, anybody telling anything, I would always listen, and I will ask for an appointment. And if I am not able to answer, if I am not understanding, I will first understand their concern in detail. I will try to explain what I have done. Even after that, if I think that they are correct, I would always take their suggestion, because somebody who is telling something is not good, or that kind of critique will be very useful, and that is the only way we can go forward. Like I would always go to some people who critique me than praise me.
Right.
So I would always accept.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Yeah, having said that, in a nutshell, probably you agree to disagree. Probably you disagree in an agreeable way, with your colleagues. Do you see this as a kind of a small lacuna in the current generation? Maybe what advice would you like to give to the current generation folks, especially who really want to take up science? Yeah.
Yes, especially not only science, if they're taking any career, it's very important that you listen to the people who says you are wrong and you are doing something, not so correct. It's always good to go back to them and say, excuse me, please, can you help me understand it better? They may be having given an answer because they may be seeing some similar situation and how they come up with. And I can tell you that I had seen very senior people in a government organization who started with a huge criticism, saying that this is not good, that is not good. But when I took an appointment with them and asked them to explain in detail, now they are like my mentor. Like they listen to me, and I have almost like unlimited access to them. Like that kind of thing will happen only if you accept people who don't like you, or rather not like you, don't like what you are saying, or find out. I would say that you must accept people critique and use it to your advantage by
Right.
correcting.
Right. This is a good point, Visu. Moving to your next phase. I mean, especially your so-called your as an Indian returnee, or as a returnee from say Europe to India. You joined IKP Knowledge Park, and as a main driving force, you stayed up a lot of wonderful projects. So, what was the biggest achievement after you came back to India, Visu?
So if you ask me, the most, I would say not biggest achievement. So every achievement is very big for me, but because I work for BIZ, Biotechnology Ignition Grant. Something I am very proud when a master's student or a bachelor student gets the award after competing with several professors and senior faculties. That will give me a huge satisfaction, especially when I had seen recently last year a remote place in Karnataka near Dodbalapur, a small agriculture related master student granted 50 lakh rupees through us. I think that gave me a immense satisfaction that even a normal MSc student can compete with professors from IIT, IASC, and still convince the committee that he is better than them in making the product. I'm not saying about science or something. In terms of time bound project execution, so I was able to train him to come up with a project and improve his project in such a way. So I think when somebody from a remote or a resource limited setting comes up, maybe I identify myself with them. I feel very happy that because many places English is considered as a also a skill, which is not the skill actually. In the grant applications and all, of course, people will give some importance unknowingly that when somebody speaks nice English from a big institute, they always look up very nicely. But when a small boy with a normal dressing, with not so good English can convince the committee, I think that will be highest satisfaction.
This is awesome, Visu. I mean, friends, we are meeting, one of the best scientists in India. We have Viswanadham Duppatla, who sees, some kind of, happiness in the opponent's face. As you could see, as an innovator or as a scientist, he drives, these big projects all over India. As an AVP of IKP Knowledge Park, he probably interviews so many people as well, along with his, interviewing panel. And you see, today we have an exemplary person here who sees, some kind of, positive vibes in an innovator, and that gives him a kind of an immense satisfaction. So I think we're absolutely amazed to see this, Visu. This is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, for pointing this. Yeah. So moving forward, Visu, I mean, I know this biotechnology ignition grant scheme has been over years. It's been almost a decade. I think there are many aspiring people, who really wanted to take up, innovation as well. And I'm sure, not many would really inch forward, or not many, would really get this big scheme grants. So what is probably one important thing, for the innovator that you wanted to suggest, if at all, if they are aiming for big scale? Yeah.
Okay. So I want to say that, in our education system, we are not trained to think about entrepreneurship and having our own thing. We always, at least me, I was always looking for a job or kind of a permanent position. I never actually thought about establishing a company or using my knowledge or my friend's knowledge. So I think, having all these opportunities presently, the students can think about having their own enterprise established at a later stage. So they should be looking at all the competitions and opportunities to explore, have an idea like, what is that required for these kind of innovation grants. So I can briefly explain in a minute actually. So all the biotechnology ignition grant, it will look for 5 to 6 parameters. So what is the problem you are trying to solve? What is the solution you are offering? And what kind of innovation do you have, and how it is going to be a successful business model? So if you can, come around these things and identify the need properly, I think you should be start looking at forming your own, vision statement for yourself. I'm not saying that everybody should start a company or something. You should be able to think and talk to friends, seniors, faculty members in your institute whether it will be a viable idea. I will actually type in the chat window. It's bit.ly/vishu IKP BAZ. It will have a template folder, explain what is technology readiness levels, what is a template, what are different kind of things, so that you can actually look and see. You don't have to start a company, even if it is a MSc project. You can define, like, what is the problem you are trying to solve. Even if it is a PhD thing, what is the technology, what is that you are going to use that others couldn't solve and you are going to solve? What is the competition means? Who are the similar people trying to work on this, and how you are going to be better than them? Some answers will be very difficult to answer, but you should find these answers. Without finding these answers, you should not do much.
Right. This is an awesome thing. So, friends, I think Visu will type in a chat box, and then probably you can get to see. There are a good number of templates that he is going to provide you. So, if you are really interested in becoming an innovator, probably a big scheme is certainly a good place. So, as he rightly points out, you need not start a company, but you can really come up with a kind of an innovation as well. So during the next 15 minutes, we'll still have Visu with us. But if you have any quick questions, please type in the chat box. Select questions probably I'll ask after seeking his permission. So Visu, when you joined back, when you came back to India, did you face any kind of acclimatization problems back to India after having garnered so much of probably freedom working in Europe?
No, actually, I was so happy to come back because I was here always. I only went out for a very short time. So I didn't had much problem because I was always in touch with all the friends around. And when I came back, it was almost like, zero time lag for me to adjust with the present climate. So many friends like you were around and I was talking with them, maybe like 10-15 days. But I actually enjoyed coming back, and it was a great time. I never had to complain anything about system. And if I look at the system in when I went or when I knew about the system, and now it's actually much better. Like, many people always compare with a German system versus Indian system, but I think we should compare Indian system in 2000 versus Indian system in 2017 rather than comparing with a lab where you work for just 2 months or 2 years or 5 years.
Right. Yeah. So Visu, I mean, you have a very typical and very prolific, CV and a prolific profile. You have wonderfully worked in prestigious institutes. You went on to gain a lot of, postdoctoral years of experience. Did wonderful projects in biochemistry. Worked with elite group, and helped so many of these particular people. So if at all, if you were asked to point one important thing, like what is the biggest I would say, satisfaction that you have in your life so far? What is that? If you want to comment upon that. Yeah.
I think my stay at Indian Institute of Science and my seniors and my learning will be. I think that will be forever. Will be the highest thing I have achieved, and everything else is only possible because of my learning and my friends. Of course, my professor, but you learn more from your friends who are better than you and willing to help you. So this peer learning from your friends always it exceeds every other textbook or any other knowledge you will ever gain. So for me, that 6 or 7 years of stay with maybe 15, 20 of one of the best minds in the world, I would say, that would be a very memorable thing for me. And yes, it is a very big achievement for me.
Oh, wonderful, Visu. Now I know you keep a lot of positive vibes, but if at all, if someone asks you a question, what is that? Probably is the biggest drawback. Maybe what is the most dissatisfaction thing that you have had during your two decades of your career? What would that be?
Very difficult. Well, what will be the most difficult thing? So, see, when we are doing things, so we take choices which are available that time. So I felt that I always took a choice what is best at that time. But given a chance, where I could have done much better is I felt that I stayed outside India for almost like 7 years, 6.5 years. Maybe I would have stayed just 2 years and come back. I would have been doing much better. I won't say that I am dissatisfied or something, but I would have done much. I would have achieved much more than staying there.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, I see a lot of positivism in this, Visu. I mean, friends, you say we are meeting a person, who feels that India is a wonderful place, contrary to the other things that many of the young graduates, young budding researchers, they wanted to even move out of India right from their post graduation tenure. So as you could see, from Visu's point of view, he sees a lot of scope in India because he has driven that kind of passion. He has seen that kind of innovation within himself and also within the work groups that he has worked across various labs so far. And you see the kind of negativity that he also thinks is not at all a kind of a negativity, but a kind of positive vibe in it. So I think we should sincerely applaud his statement of his. I think thank you, Viswanadham. That was a wonderful point that you made.
Prash, if you give me a chance, I want to talk something more about about COVID or something and the startups.
Please, Visu, please, yeah,
Yes.
please.
So actually, Prash was asking like in my family, 3 people had COVID and we just recovered and everything is good. So during that time, it was so nice that startups with whom you worked are providing the solutions for the people. So one startup was contactless monitoring of your heart rate, pulse rate. And one startup is microgoids. I actually I may share the screen and just show the.
Yeah, I'll just stop.
Okay. So okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
It's white. Yes. Yeah, it's coming up. Okay. So Monitra is one company which monitors your heartbeat, and with their device, it can monitor it can record the your pulse rate. So they were very helpful. So for my mother, who is like near 70 years, so we were little worried how it will be. So we were using their app to monitor daily readings, and luckily we never had to go anywhere. But so I felt very good, like somebody whom you worked with were able to provide the solutions for your problem as well. Of course, now COVID is everybody's problem. And Dozy, so this is our another BAG company. Now is actually very big company. So they were able to do extremely well during these times because they can convert a normal bed into a low, means a kind of ICU kind of bed with the monitoring of the vitals. And when there is a need to inform the doctor, it can do it automatically. And another company is called Microgo. So they make go assure, and these are like hand sanitizing mission. So now in most of the airports and railway stations, if you are seeing go assure micro go, it is from one of our BSc grantee, and I really admire her. She had left her full-time job in a bark. Can you believe somebody with a full-time government job leaving that and coming into this? She has done exceptionally well. And of course, the mask that was gifted to me during the visit, it is from the Parishodhana team. So when the masks were priced around 200 to 300 rupees, so they were able to make for 70 to 100 rupees much better quality masks. So this is one of them, and I have gifted to everybody around. And so it feels very good, like when you help people and they are able to help the country. And it's means like other time you're asked about satisfaction, but if you ask me about the present time, so all these people give immense satisfaction, and that is what drives us to work day and night.
No, wonderful, wonderful. It's quite amazing. So in IKP and also with working with DBT big schemes or whatever BIRAC schemes and all, you might have encountered some people who might have sharply missed winning the grant, and I'm sure you might have motivated them as well. So how would you motivate them? What would be your single most agenda for them?
Okay, it's actually very difficult to talk to somebody who lost the grant, because there will be a lot of preparation and expectations. So it will be very difficult to talk to such people. But I will be very honest with them, and I usually make a notes of all the interactions with various committees and various teams. I tell them very honestly, this is the reason it was not given. So they sometimes they try to justify that they are better than this, they have this. But in a pool of 800, only 50 to 100 people will be given, and the remaining 700 cannot be given, even if they are good. How they presented, how they answered, and how the committee felt. So there will be several things. So I try to explain them the process, and I tell them that I am here to train you, and if you are convinced that you can answer any of these things, I will be very happy to help. So I don't give them any hope saying that next time you will get the grant or something, but I can always tell that what is not good, and if you improve on these lines ABC, you may be having a chance. So actually, many mature scientists, they really like honest feedback. So many a times we think that if you tell what is not good, they don't like you. But actually, these people, although I tell them that you can go to other people for help or something, but trust me, most of the people who fail to get the grant, they will come to me saying that fine, Visu, TK, means we will again work for the next grant. So actually, that's quite a I feel that very happy, like when somebody who didn't get a grant writes a long email saying that, okay, I didn't get the grant, but I want to thank you for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think that is where you feel so satisfied that somebody who is not getting the grant, actually he is in sorrow, but he want to convey his gratitude and say thanks. So if you are honest with people, they will be accepting you. You don't have to manipulate.
Right. Wonderful, Visu. I mean, having said this, Visu, I mean, apart from these innovation related grants, if you really look at the academic grants, I feel that a fair peer review is not really there many a time. Do you agree with this particular statement?
Yes, I heard from so many of the scientists saying that in this grant, for example, in BSc, at every stage we are giving such a detailed feedback, and they expect some detailed feedbacks. They're not saying that give us the grant, but give us a detailed reasons why it cannot be given, so that we will improve. I think a detailed review system will always help in any process, not just this grant, anywhere actually. When somebody is not selected, even a person who is coming to your lab for interview, if he is not selected, it is always good to tell them that because of this reason, so I have selected someone else, and you are good, but these are the problem, these are the areas where you can improve. I think that kind of feedback, starting from student interviews to grant interviews, will always make the system more transparent, and everybody will be happy.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. So India is in a very strong phase, the last, I would say, 2-3 years. And even amid the COVID times, I think we have been successful so far, to a certain extent in stopping, COVID, albeit the fact that the last several weeks, we have had a huge spike in fatalities. But do you see, India as an aspiring place to do wonderful academics, maybe during the next decade at least? Because we still see, from Bioclues point of view, as we have been mentoring, many graduate students over the last 15 years. We are a bit, surprised that, many of the students, still want to move out of India, even in the COVID times. So there are two typical sub questions into this. One is, do you see India as a superpower, for academia at least? And number two, what advice probably you would like to give to these young brethren who really want to go out of India? Yeah.
I think to answer the first question. So we have so many opportunities and so many things to do in India, and there will be plenty of opportunities when these people are ready. So I don't have any doubt that we'll be improving, and they should be looking at opportunities in India as well. In India, and for the people who want to go out, I don't think it's a bad idea to go when there are some different opportunities, and when they get better scholarship or something, they can go, and they can make a plan, like how they want to, because many people I know who are abroad, like at the age of 45, 46, they've turned to come back and they can't come back. Their kids are there, their kids are going to German school or some other school. They don't have a plan. It's okay to go abroad, but you plan it properly, and it's not like okay, I'm just getting in Canada, I will go to Canada, I'm getting in Germany. You plan, and if you're getting something better and what you want to do, you always go for it. And think in mind, like how you can contribute to science wherever you are. And when you are coming back, you reach out to people and tell your friends. I usually like to write post in LinkedIn or something, when I'm very busy, like if I go to Bangalore, I say that 10 to 12 I have a meeting in Indian Institute of Science, and I have a meeting in so and so company. If somebody wants, they can come, and from airport to IASC somebody can talk to me, and IASC to another company they can talk to me. So we have to reach out to friends, and we should not think twice, like they are after all our friends, and they will understand. What I realized is many people so much hesitate to tell openly. They want to keep things secret. I think you should be sharing your things with your friends, and when your friends are with you, then your success will go up.
Perfect. I mean, what an answer, Visu. So Visu, final couple of questions. In the publish or perish adage, especially for academia, I think the current generation are really falling under trap of predatory journals. I think this is a kind of a sorry figure, and we at Bioclues also have been striving in eradicating this. So I think many in the eventual process, many people really flout the rules. Maybe they don't want to know something about Committee on Publication Ethics or FAIR principles or FAIR guidelines. So what advice you would like to give to the younger generation who really want to publish?
Okay, so first I want to tell a very philosophical thing here. You have to accept that you are competing with yourself, what you are yesterday, and only that is the your competition. You're not competing with someone else. So if you learn something from yesterday to today, I think you should consider it as a successful day or successful life. So if you accept this point, and you send your publication to a journal where it is accepted, you should be happy, instead of sending to some flashy journals. And the other it's very easy to identify these predatory journals. So as a researcher, you should take responsibility. I can tell one example. So during my MSc to PhD transition, I have done some work, and that time some journal wrote, and based on post or something, but we sent to Current Science. We waited for almost 1.5 2 years, like we were not in hurry, and finally it was accepted. Just it is a one-page one, but some SDS page and some gels. I was very happy, and I think maybe impact factor is fine too. I was not worried about impact factor, and I was very happy that I achieved a publication with my own work. I think once the people accept the realities, and as a researchers we take the responsibility, this predatory journal problem will be solved. If the government rules and the general rules and awareness things, that will not work. As a researcher, we should take the responsibility, and we should be committed to be very honest with ourselves, and because everybody is worried that I want to apply for a faculty position, I want more publications, I want something, the A B C D, then all these deviations happen. So but as researchers, and as you said, that fair practices, we should adhere to those, otherwise there is no meaning. Like people will not trust us at a later date.
Right, right. I mean, well said, Visu. So Visu, I think that comes to the end of this wonderful interview. But do you have any questions for us, or do you have any advice for us? As one final points before we sign off.
So as I told that if you compete with yourself, what you are yesterday, you will know your weakness, and you should identify what is your weakness, and you should accept your weakness, and you should work on your strengths. If you ask me, the minute you start accepting your weakness, you're already half better. For example, if you take my example, my English is very bad actually. It's just okay English. In 10th class, I got around 50 marks. And I had no shame in accepting that. And I started writing whatever is there in the newspaper very blindly. Means I know that is my weakness. I have to improve it. There is no shortcut for that. I have to work maybe 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, doesn't matter. So you have to talk to yourself, understand your weakness, and use your strengths. Don't think about others. You are competing with yourself, what you are yesterday. I think that is always, I think, and you will feel much better actually.
Oh, wonderful, Visu. I mean, thank you so much, Visu, for this wonderful time and energy that you have given us. It's been more than 55 minutes that you have spent time, with us. Seeking science and as well as conscience, to our fellow audience in Bioclues. We at Bioclues have got more than 4,000 members. Many of them are young budding mentees. They really need, inspiration, and I'm sure, this inspiration is more than a kind of an innovative degree that you have really heralded us today. And no, there's no hesitancy in saying that, you are just 41, and I'm sure, you'll bring more inspiring fellows, to the wonderful Indian decorum. And I'm sure, that you will make India proud. You have already made India proud. And I'm sure, many of the younger brethren would really want to see, you as an inspiration, for the next few years. Thank you so much, Visu. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Thank you, Prashant, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Visu. So, friends, that's it, for today. This weekend we have Incisation with Prash. We had Viswanadham Duppatla, who is an AVP of IKP Knowledge Park, and my good friend, and more than that, a wonderful human and an innovator, and indeed, a versatile and kind of a helping scientist. So next week, we are already come up with schedules. So next week, with the same input at 5 o'clock, we have Shivramaya Nallapeta, who is the head of Nanotemper Technologies, based in Bangalore, World Trade Park. So we'll have him, I'll probably have him, today at 5 o'clock. So please wait for the announcements. And this particular recording is available in YouTube page of Bioclues. So as a small token of appreciation, we will give Visu a Bioclues coffee mug. Thank you so much, Visu. And Bioclues has been mentoring many young students. We usually give coffee mugs to the mentors as well. And Visu has been the life member of Bioclues since 2018. So ever since he returned back to India, he has given this. Thank you so much, Visu. Thank you again. Yeah.
Thank you, Prash, and very nice to talk to all of you.
Thank you, Visu. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.